Yeah, let's kick it off. Let's go.
Let's go.
Mid-Geek Crisis.
All right.
All right. There we go. You know what? I couldn't hear it, man. I don't know what's going on. My audio for anything I'm playing in the show is completely.
Get it together. Get it together.
Yeah, I gotta get this together. So let's see. Oh, we got some chat. Okay, right game. Okay. No one's here yet. Well, we got one watcher. I don't know who it is yet. They haven't.
Great. Welcome, friend of the show.
Woo. The counter last week was broken. It wouldn't tell me how many people were in, but there were tons of chats, so I couldn't,
Ah, there you go. All right.
Now I've got a little one up there. So all right, we've got someone here on time, and we're on time. Welcome to Mid-Geek Crisis. My name is Joe, the Afroman, and my partner in crime, as always.
Cautious, Pedro.
All right. It's funny. I have to point left when you're on the right to me.
It's mirrors. I don't understand how it works.
So if you saw the name of the episode as it launched up and pulled up, episode 55, and I thought it was funny. Do you remember that slogan for the launch of the PlayStation?
Nope.
You are not ready, and it was a red E, like a color red E.
What did the red E represent? I don't even know.
Ready. You're not ready.
Oh, like Ready Player One, ready?
Yeah, like ready. You're not ready.
I got you.
The whole slogan was like you're not prepared.
I guess it's like ahead of its time. I think
Yeah, man. It was you are. So it was letter U R, not N-O-T, and then a red E, like a just an E.
Right.
Yeah, that was the motto.
So what are we talking about again? 25th anniversary PlayStation.
So that's right. 25th
Yeah.
anniversary of the original PlayStation, the changing console, the console that brought us into the like weird polygonal age.
Was it the first disc?
No, the first disc. The honor to the first disc goes to the first console disc went to the TurboGrafx CD. That was the first.
Wasn't TurboGrafx a cards?
It was, and then they added the add-on. The
add-ons don't count. Add-ons don't count.
It was a console, and then in Japan it was its own
add-ons
console.
don't count. Add-ons don't count. Come on, what was the first full-on CD?
Full-on CD console, like no expansion, no anything.
No expansion, no other bits and bobs, just CD.
So that was
I don't see them catching on. That's right, Raul. Oh, welcome to the show, Rolls.
Welcome to the show, Rolls. Welcome, Jordan. Yeah, PlayStation might have been the first one. I mean, maybe.
I feel like in my memory, and then like GameCube made them smaller. Like there was this weird. Like,
so if we're gonna talk about like consoles dead on, like main entry, no other methods to play games like that, it was Sony. Definitely, the Sony PlayStation had the black discs. The black back discs.
Right, in those huge boxes. Just like
so the original boxes were the long boxes, as they called them, and they were that thick and that tall.
Mm-hmm.
And the hinges always broke.
Yeah, no, I think when I got rid of my PlayStation collection, I gave you XCOM.
That's right.
But it's still broken.
Right, hold on.
The hinges were broken. Oh, it's just me now. Where did Joe go? What happened there? All right. Technical difficulties, maybe, unless Joe's going to come back wearing a hat. So let me see. I'm trying to remember what was my first PlayStation game, and honestly, the only one I remember playing the hell out of was XCOM. You disappeared for a bit, Joe.
Yeah, I did it because
you went and
there it is. This was yours.
I can't believe you still have that most ridiculous game.
Look up the value of XCOM on PlayStation Longbox on PlayStation.
Is it like $300?
Yeah.
It was an excellent port, man. I mean, like I play XCOM on the computer, and it just isn't the same as playing it on the PlayStation.
So what I played the hell out of these is you can see that it's like the regular size of a CD in there, but then it has all of the space in there.
Mm-hmm.
And like some games, they started putting foam pads in here so that it wouldn't break, but there's all this extra room in there. Like, and then
it's like for books.
Yeah. Like,
VHS tapes. Who the heck knows why they put it on there?
What was nice is you got a big old spine on it. You had big artwork on it.
This is back when we had unlimited shelf space, I guess, to store things.
Right.
Well, you didn't have to buy like a specific media cabinet, which was nice, right? They fit right in the VHS slots.
Right.
So you can put it right there with your VHS tapes. If we want to even go further back on things that didn't catch on rolls, we can go with VHS tapes, right? Those didn't catch on either.
Nope. Never there. We hit 11 viewers right now. Welcome, everybody.
Yeah.
Welcome. So we're talking about the PlayStation. It is the 25th anniversary of its launch. And I remember I couldn't afford it, of course. Everyone was talking about it, but I rented it. I rented it. I rented the console at Blockbuster. You remember that? Like,
I remember renting consoles. Sure,
they were expensive. So I remember one weekend. It was my buddy's birthday, and we rented it. And we got Twisted Metal, Demolition Derby.
Oh yeah, Twisted Metal.
Oh, God,
solid game, dude. I'm trying to remember the games I played on that.
What was the launch titles for the PlayStation?
I remember. I think the PlayStation might have been my first generation system I bought after the Genesis. So I went from Genesis and all the various attachments straight to the Sony PlayStation. I left the Nintendo ecosystem at that point. Like I did it. I just completely
Ridge Racer.
That's it.
Ridge Racer. Oh my God! You know what? I still love that game. I still love the launch version.
Of course you do.
Oh, it's so good. The drifting feels great in that game. You're like,
what do folks remember from the PlayStation back then in the days? I remember. I mean, like I think I burnt out many a PlayStation playing XCOM for one. There was like a weird cyborg rugby style game that I played the hell out of with my friends. It was a 2-player game. What else did I have? Tenchu? Tenchu Stealth Assassin is what I remember.
I have your copy of Tenchu.
Did you? I still have.
Yeah, I do. You never owned a PlayStation, Jordan. Man, it's one of my fondest memories.
Doesn't Jordan run a 90s video game channel with his sister? Look at the little tiny one.
Buy yourself a mini.
Not to scale.
Not to scale. No, one of the greatest fighting game franchises ever. There's like 1 million entries to this. Battle Arena Toshinden, the game that never got a sequel.
That's right.
So I changed the border up with the PlayStation.
Celebrate the Sony PlayStation.
Did you?
Sony changed the game for me so much that I left Sega and Nintendo behind.
Yeah.
Sony, and then I went PlayStation and then PlayStation 2, and then the Xbox One is what got me to leave the Xbox got me to leave the PlayStation ecosystem. Like because I've always been a one console kind of guy, so I just sort of left Sony after the 2.
Oh man. Yeah, the PlayStation was again. It was a weird time. It was just we considered 2D games as kiddie games. They were like baby games. That was the connotation that PlayStation gave. And this was, I guess, the beginning of the hardcore gamer, where we were now. The entire company was really focused towards the like teenage mindset. There wasn't a Mario. Like Crash Bandicoot was the closest we got to like a kid franchise in this game. I mean, look, the launch window, the games for September, September launch of the PlayStation was Battle Arena.
There was a Doom port. You're totally right.
There was a Doom port. ESPN Extreme Games, Kyleek, the DNA Imperative, NBA Jam. Tournament Edition, Power Serve 3D Tennis, the Raiden Project, which is a side shooter.
Still a side shooter. They're still making
Rayman.
Games, right?
Rayman is probably the closest to a kid game we got for launch. And then we got Ridge Racer, Street Fighter, the movie game.
Yes.
That one.
The greatest Street Fighter game ever made.
Twisted Metal and Total Eclipse Turbo. That was the launch.
Wasn't Call of Duty on the Sony PlayStation as well? Didn't that
one of the first, like one of the very
Medal of Honor? I want to say
Medal of Honor was later on, yeah, and way late into its. We didn't get first person shooters like that until later on. GoldenEye and like we those were
that's
N64.
Right,
N64 we got GoldenEye and Turok 2. Yeah, the Atari kids grew up. That was a big one.
That's a good way to put it, Jordan. The Atari kids did grow up, and they wanted a hardcore game. Do you remember that controller with like it was so different from the Genesis controller and the Nintendo controllers, and it was just so dramatically different that old PlayStation look. And I mean, not even old; they're still using the same exact look nowadays.
Yeah, no. So let's talk about that. Here is the let's focus in onto that.
This is why we need a producer. We are accepting applications. We need some sort of fact person and producer to come on here.
That's right. When I'm talking about
Joe's a one-man show, and I'm like contributing maybe 0.25%.
Oh, you're doing great. You're doing great. Boom. Here we go. So this was the original controller it launched with. So of course, when you buy the classic, they give you 2 of that style. It wasn't until later that we got what is now the iconic look for the PlayStation controller, which was this when we got
with the thumbsticks
with the DualShock. It was the original DualShock, and this is the DualShock 2, but it didn't change. This was the first one that we got dual analogs, and the first game to kind of give us that was Ape Escape.
Jesus Christ, what a legacy!
Yeah, I mean it gave us new things. There was no longer A, B buttons, L and R. There was the correct terms for these buttons are cross, circle, triangle, and square, not X. It's cross.
Right, because they're all shapes, and X would be a letter. It would ruin the whole thing.
Right. So the
I always thought of them as X's, O's, triangles, and squares.
So I can't remember the one of the original creators. The reason that it's X and O is in Japan, X is no, O is yes, and American button memory wants us to make X where the A button is on the Xbox, or the B button in the Nintendo. The X is the yes button. So all the games in the US, the agree button or the yes or the keep going, the enter, the move on is X. But in Japan, it's a circle. So whenever you played an import game or you brought over an import game, you would always hit circle, circle, circle.
Or you'd have to reverse the control.
Or you have to reverse the control. Yeah, absolutely.
The buttons still are the most annoying part of the PS controllers. I don't know why everyone's got to do it differently. Standardize it.
They just want it to be different. And that's their legacy, man. They changed the game up. They gave us analog controllers. It wasn't the first though, because Nintendo 64 came out and they had their analog, but they gave us the dual analog, which gave us the ability to move camera. We didn't get that until that. I agree with you. I agree with you, Raleigh. I agree with you.
Would you say that the calling it across makes you cross, Kendo? Is that what I'm hearing?
That joke. Yes.
I'm with you, man. It'll always be the X button. I don't know why they had to. That seems like a weird hill to go on, die on. But
yeah,
people do it with GIF,
X,
and
it's the X button. But yeah,
that's where we
GIF.
are. Yeah, people die on that hill for one stupid reason or another. So,
What's a PlayStation? That's interesting.
Come on, there's like a fourth one out there. You got to know what a PlayStation is.
Fourth Pro, bruh.
Fourth Pro.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know if we're talking about PlayStation in the news and whatnot. We got leaked images, which is it can't even be leaked. They've been everywhere for months. All developers, and there's a couple of forums online that a lot of developers like to post on. Resetera, and NeoGAF. Both of them, they've got a lot of developers, and when this news hit this week, they're like, "What are you talking about? We've even posted pictures of this on here for months."
I know.
The dev unit for the PlayStation 5 hit, and it looks like a V. It's got like a weird V look with vents. It's like the weirdest looking thing, and everyone.
I thought it looked like a wireless router. I assumed it was.
Yeah, it looks like a big Linksys router.
Yeah, it looks like doesn't look that great.
Yeah, the dev kits are everywhere. This picture is just hitting up everywhere, and there they are right there. It's the weirdest thing, but at the same time, that's not what they look like in the end. Like, I don't know why people are making such a big deal. Oh, Sony's getting ugly. They're ugly. That's not. If you look right here, this thing, that's a dev unit for a PlayStation 4. Big VR looking thing.
I will say that I look at that thing and I'm all like, yeah, it's ugly, but also like the dust collection ratio to aesthetic appeal of it is ridiculous, right? That center area is going to get so dirty so fast.
Someone photoshopped it and put it's a pizza warmer, and they put a slice of pizza in there, and I was like, yes, that's exactly what it's for. The pizza warmer.
Yeah, you know what? That's a great attachment for your video game system. You can just sort of slide it in there, play some more.
They always do that. I feel that's hilarious with the Sony products. They always do that. Remember when the PlayStation 3 came out? You had all the photoshops of it being a Foreman grill, the original PlayStation 3.
So it looks like a continuation of
it looks like a giant Foreman grill. Like,
yeah, I could see that, like a panini maker sort of thing.
Yeah,
totally.
it's like making me hungry. It's past dinner time, Jordan.
Yeah,
I'm hoping you got in the kitchen and made your wife a sandwich, right? Right?
What?
That's what you would have done. Right?
The lean, mean game playing machine.
That's right. The lean game. Cut the fat. No, man, I'm excited. I'm always excited around console launch time. And, you get that hype, you get the talk, you get all
console launch time is not for a year, right?
We're starting it now. It's
how does anyone maintain hype for a year?
That
doesn't make any sense.
Knowing the year 2020 is
you know what happens? You know what happens in 3 months? PAX East. Like, there are so many things closer. Christmas, your birthday, like all of these things are way closer.
Don't get me wrong. Star Wars, there's all sorts of stuff. Sonic the Hedgehog movie, there's all sorts of stuff that I'm hyped for. I'm just saying.
I'm also hyped for.
I am also hyped for. Yeah, I'm a hype man, dude. That's absolutely right, Jordan. Get it? Look, I am hyping myself ahead for things that are to come. I know that next year, in 2020, next year, 1 year from now, on this show, I will be playing whatever next console will be out, because it'll be out by the Christmas.
I will disappoint you.
I know you always do. And you didn't get an Xbox. You didn't get your Xbox One until like March or something of like.
Oh, it was ridiculous. A whole 3 months after it launched.
6 months. Thank you very much. It launched in November, and you got it like.
I think I still got like a day one bonus. Like, it wasn't even.
You did. No, you didn't get the day one edition. You didn't get the day one edition.
I didn't get the day one edition.
I've always been a hype master.
Better.
My Forward cabinet TV. You know what? I will make sure to give you the instructions to get that going. I will.
It's like a reverse adapter, right? You got to make it work on a whole.
Yeah, man. People, there's whole forums that do that.
Of course, there are.
They always do. Watching the old. I think I talked about it last week. Watching the old Disney Plus shows that were on 4x3, running them through an HDMI to like composite converter and then plugging it in.
It's like so much more work than it's worth. But I guess they're like, can this be done? It can be done.
It can be done. They're like, yes. They're watching DuckTales in 4x3 on their own cabinet.
Yeah, Tim, you're right. Joe has always been the hype man. I can't. He's improved my life just because he hypes. I don't look forward to tomorrow because I don't know whether or not I will die today. So like putting my hopes on tomorrow always makes no sense to me. Like, so many things could happen in a year. PlayStation could be canceled. I mean, we could just also decide to cancel PlayStation, and Joe would be like, "Ah," but he has so many other things he can get hyped for that even if it doesn't come out, he's
we're going to be talking about that. The year of hype, 2020, will be one of the names.
Why is it the year of hype? Because of Sonic? Because it's going to start with Sonic and it's going to end with console releases.
Star Wars comes out, in 13 days. 13 days ago.
I will be seeing it in January.
Yeah. And then, killing me here. The Star Wars comes out, but no, 2020. Let's see, we've got tons of stuff coming out in 2020. We've got the Sonic the Hedgehog movie, of course. We've got a ton of movies. We got Black Widow. The Black Widow trailer came out.
I saw that. I haven't watched the trailer, but I saw that the trailer dropped.
Looks great.
I was so confused because I was like, did this drop on Disney Plus and I didn't notice? What is this?
We will be getting the Disney Plus show after the fact, so that is coming.
That's what I thought. I thought they had a show for her.
It's like a Hawkeye and Black Widow show, I think, is what they're doing. But we're also getting I
didn't realize we were getting a solo movie too. So this is how little I keep track of this stuff. So,
and
so I can maintain the hype or lack of hype.
We've got Hopper as oh god, what is his name? He's like the Soviet guy, the red something.
The red Captain America version, right?
Yeah.
The Iron Shield or something.
The Iron, something like that. I'm terrible with Marvel and their villains. Well, he's not really a villain. He's kind of anyway, the trailer looks great.
He's not really a villain. He's kind of complicated. He's an interesting character. He's got depth, unlike all the other Marvel Universe superheroes.
Hawkeye and Black Widow, a MASH in Marvel Universe MASH. Oh my god, dude! I love me some MASH.
Wait, MASH?
Yeah.
No. Now we know who our target audience is.
I know,
We're
right?
talking
We're
about MASH. That
like
is,
MASH. You know, we scared off Kendo. He's gone. He's like, what the gone? It's like, he's totally like, MASH. What the hell are you guys talking about? I used to have that on Atari 2600, by the way. That game. There was a MASH game, and it was a little helicopter, and you'd bring them in, kind of like.
Oh my gosh, I do remember that game. Holy cow!
It played like a really low-fi version of the theme too.
I remember that every time that came on the television, it was like time for me to go to bed.
Yeah.
Like when it came on, I was like, "Oh, dude, why am I still up and MASH is on?" Back when you had to watch whatever was on, which I keep trying to explain to my daughter, and she just doesn't even understand the concept.
Talk about a generational shift there. Like the like, hey, you turn on TV and there used to be these channels, and these channels just gave you random shows. You didn't
have to watch them.
And you only knew what came on if you had maybe a TV guide. Or
oh my gosh. or the high end of technology was a TV channel that showed you what was on the other channel.
Oh my God.
Nowadays, I love the show. Yeah.
It's one of those shows that, you know what? It was the opposite roles. My parents hated it because I grew up watching Nick at Night and MASH like late at night. So I loved watching that. I watched My Three Sons, Mr. Ed, freaking Donna Reed show.
Sometimes I forget that you're like way younger than me, because I like Nick at Night wasn't something I grew up with. I remember it coming on and me being like, who the F is going to watch this?
Oh, come on.
How are we already nostalgic for these shows?
What? The Donna Reed show? Was that something you grew up with?
I don't even know what that is.
Yeah, that's right.
I don't even know what that is.
Nick and I was awesome. Dick Van Dyke Show. F Troop. Bewitched. There you go.
I watched Bewitched when it was on WPIX on Sundays. They played it right after the cartoons, but before...
but they were already reruns then.
Yeah.
It's just what I'm saying is so Rolls. Here's a good old man test your age question.
Dick Van Dyke.
Do you remember when, like, watching it, like, and they played it, you know, episode by episode, and do you remember when they did that episode where they shift, where like the main character changes? It went from Dick York to Dick Clark. It changed to a completely different actor. Dick Sargent. Sorry, that two different actors, both named Dick, played the lead character. You know,
Dick Van Dyke.
In Bewitched, the guy.
Oh, the husband.
The husband. He changed. It became a different actor, but we were just supposed to not notice.
Well, I mean, you know, it's Hollywood. It's Hollywood, baby.
I remember growing up and watching that, and then like I remember one episode all of a sudden they changed the guy, and I'm like,
didn't they do that with Fresh Prince? I remember they do that with the mom in Fresh Prince.
They did it with the mom in Fresh Prince, and that's
like, what I remember. I was way too young to realize it, but yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, you're like, this guy kind of looks a little.
They looked very similar. They did, but not. It was like, what's wrong?
All those TV dudes looked the same though. They all had the same like straight off the army base, the pomade hair to the side, perfect look.
Man, I'm trying to think. Back to the PlayStation real quick. Was it one of your first CD players?
No, I mean I had a Walkman, but
you had like a Discman.
Yeah, I had a Discman. I had one of those. That was my first CD player.
You didn't get mugged in the streets of New York for that?
You had to wear it inside your coat, man. Come on. Like, I didn't know how to not.
and did you have to hide the headphones? Because they're like, they know you're listening to something.
No, you had like a decoy tape one. No, you just, you know. I didn't wear it outside. My Discman was for inside the house, you fool. Yeah, the mom switch on Fresh Prince was noticeable.
It was very noticeable. It was just out of nowhere, out of the blue.
Nick. Wait a minute.
Yeah. So again, this shows my age versus Pedro's. This is I think is the age range where you were no longer watching this kind of stuff, and I was. Nickelodeon late at night. They decided, hey, the Nickelodeon kids, the original generation, had grown up a bit, but they're still watching our channel, so they made Snick, which was Saturday Night Nick, and they had it was more like a teenage focused, and they had all that. Are you afraid?
It must have been nice to have cable.
He stole it. Stole it. We had the neighbor. I had the cable under the fence.
Everybody in my apartment building stole it.
Like one person paid. Who's the one jackass that
my dad would punish us by just pulling the plug out the.
Oh man, did you move a lot when you were a kid or no?
No, stayed in the same apartment. In fact, my brother still lives in the same apartment that I grew up in.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, once you get a rent stabilized apartment in New York City, they better bury you in it.
That's
You
right.
don't move.
That's right. You don't move. You just pass it down.
You pass, yeah, because it's the only way you can pass down the lease rent stabilized apartments. So you get.
Wow.
So yeah, I did watch a lot of Clarissa Explains It All and Are You Afraid of the Dark? Clarissa Explains It All was my jam.
Yeah.
I mean, that's all shows that you kind of into as a teenage boy or younger teenage boy, right? You're like, oh, this girl's kind of
Clarissa gave you funny
feelings, funny feelings. I was just so Jordan on his brother sister show earlier today. They were talking about Joe Pesci, which reminded me that Joe Pesci was in My Cousin Vinny, and Marissa Tomei was an important part of my growing up experience. My Cousin Vinny. There you go. Yes. Did I not say Joe Pesci? What did I say? Yeah, Joe Pesci. Because they were playing Home Alone, the video game. If you're a fan of old retro games from the 90s, Brother Sister is a great show to check out. They were playing Home Alone. They're doing Christmas games all month long. I'm hoping they play some good ones next week. What I like most about 90s kids, though, Joe, is that they don't know when movies came out. And they're talking a lot of blah, blah, blah about Gremlins being a 90s movie. And I'm like,
no. Whoa. 90s kids, as in people that were born in like mid 90s and late, and they're like, oh, the 90s. No, you were a 2000s kid.
You're a 2000s kid.
You can't claim a 90s kid because you were born in 97. Like, no, you were 3 years old when the 2000s hit.
Well, they're technically is the best kind of correct, right?
You're always a kid about 5 years into their age range, right? So, like, because at 5 you can start remembering stuff. You can't remember anything before 5, really. Like,
so that's interesting, right? Because I always consider myself sort of because I came of age late 80s, early 90s, so I've got that weird gap. But like I remember Gremlins because it was too dark. Yeah, Gremlins is too dark to be a 90s film.
Yeah, that's an 80s movie, man. That's a PG movie with killing. Like
Merry Christmas, fine Christmas film, right in the spirit of Die Hard and on other genius Christmas films of that nature. So anyway, I wanted to give a little shout out to Brother Sister as I got a chance to watch it today, and every time I do, it's a blast.
Yeah, so Marissa Tomei, you talked about her, and it's funny that she's kind of back in the limelight because she plays Aunt May.
And I won't lie, I am super appreciative that she's back.
Everyone's like, yes,
I'm okay with that.
That's for us.
I'm all right. A lot of other folks can go away, but that's
yeah, man. It's her birthday tomorrow. Happy birthday, Marissa Tomei.
Is it really?
I know you're watching. December 4th, 1964.
Well, happy birthday, Marissa Tomei. Yeah. We'll try and make this less creepy now that we know it's you.
Hey, she was born in Brooklyn.
Yeah, I know. I like in my head, I always thought there was a chance, right? That's the crazy thing. Because I was like,
you walk into a bodega and you just run into Melissa, and you're like, hey, how you doing?
Exactly. Ooh, no. Well, we weren't saying you're back then, right?
Yeah. So what was the call? Was that it? Ooh, was that the call? What was the call?
Oh yeah, was it? Ooh, yeah, you do that one. That's hilarious. Nothing wrong with holding out hope. I'm still banking. See, Natalie Portman, that's a good one. I mean, I don't want to be creepy, but there's these sort of like, boy crushes that we had growing up.
They've grown up with us.
Yes.
No. Yeah, no. Natalie Portman was definitely one, for the books for us for sure. Man, I'm trying to think of more PlayStation related stuff. I just want to talk about it just a little longer before we move on to the next story. Let's see here. So again, being that it was one of the first CD based systems, it was the first time you had to deal with like scratches and like it not loading.
Yep.
And
like 2 discs, right? Wasn't there 2 disc games eventually on it?
There were eventually.
Final Fantasy VII, right? Was it 2 disc game?
3 discs. You ended up getting Resident Evil. It sucked if like one of your discs was broken and one of them wasn't, so you couldn't continue the game. Or
you would fix that by renting the game from Blockbuster or the local video store and returning the broken one.
That's nice. Bravo.
I mean, like,
allegedly.
allegedly,
Allegedly, for sure. Yeah, no. What else? I'm trying to think. I remember game. Eventually, your early models of the PlayStation, the laser had plastic rails, and they would wear down, but then it would sag, which means it wouldn't read the disc. So I remember having to take your PlayStation, hit start, and then
you flip it over,
flip it upside down. You'd have it sitting on two books, sitting upside down. And then you're sitting there waiting, and you remember you're hitting that button, right? You're hitting that button, and then all of a sudden you go. At that point, when that black screen hit, you're like, yes, it loaded.
Oh my god, and that intro is so long, but games nowadays are so much longer. It's kind of intense. Yeah, there you go. Oh man, and discs would scratch and you get all upset when you
Yeah, man, yeah. It's a good sound. I like systems that have iconic startup sounds. The Xbox had a good startup sound. The PlayStation 2 had a good one too. You'd hit it and it would do like the starry, misty sound, and then it would go right. That's wonderful sound, yeah. And then it would go into that whoom PlayStation 2 sound. The kind of like fade in letters would come in.
Wouldn't that sound travel across your speaker if you had it set up for stereo? Right, that would sort of travel.
Oh yeah. It would travel, and that's when you knew you got stereo. You fancy. Not playing on that.
There were cleaning kits rolls. I remember getting a Blockbuster cleaning kit from my grandmother who didn't understand video game culture at all, but she tried. But she gave me
one of the first ones where you started. You were like trying to clean that laser right there. You're like trying to make sure it's clean.
I would just blow on it just like I did with my Nintendo.
Ah, you heathen.
Was the PlayStation the first one to release like a PlayStation Mark II? Because I know they slimmed down their box. Were they the first to release?
That's right. So they were one of a few other consoles, right? So then even the Nintendo had a small. The
GameCube had a small one.
Well, no, not the GameCube. So the Nintendo, the original NES, did get a second revision, which became a top loader.
Yeah, but that was like
late. It was late. But it happened because I mean they had like 1 billion people that bought it, right? And a huge catalog, so they could sell it. And it was the first time they also redesigned the controller. They gave you that dog bone controller.
That's right. That's right.
It was also the first one when they changed the buttons that they were no longer just right next to each other. They were kind of angled.
So
proper thumb angle.
Less blisters.
Right. So they redid it there. The Super Nintendo got a revision. They called it the SNES Junior, and it was a smaller one as well that got a revision. A lot of consoles went into revision, but they went it for cheaper, right? Like the Genesis had like 17 revisions, right? It had.
Yeah, that's right. You know, I'm talking crazy. I was thinking of maybe the modern era. You're right. They all did. You know why? Because I only had the original versions of all of them. I never upgraded to the newer ones.
Neither did I. Like you would only get the next version if you bought it late or the one broke and you really wanted to buy another one, and then you realize, oh, they got a new model, and you buy the new one.
Or you'd return it to Blockbuster saying that.
Of course.
I'm not saying that a lot. I'm not saying.
Yeah. So yeah, the PlayStation did get a revision eventually. The PS1, that was where they finally gave it the
one, right? Yeah,
one, and it was white. It was small, and it became so small that they even sold a LCD screen that you could attach to it. And
allegedly.
Yeah. So the statute of limitation. It's been 25 years, guys.
They won't find us. Blockbuster went out of business. I wonder why.
Why.
Warehouses stacked full of broken consoles and discs.
Well,
how many Xboxes are they now? They didn't. There are 3 or 4. There are 4. There's the Xbox One, Xbox One S, the Xbox Digital, the Xbox One Digital, and then there's like the Xbox
X.
That's it. So there's 4.
There's 4 PlayStation, 4 Xbox One version, and then even the PlayStation's got one. So they've got the original PlayStation 4, the PlayStation 4 Slim, and the PlayStation 4 Pro. So there's 3 versions of the PlayStation 4.
And that's in 7 years? Is it 7 or 8 years? Yep.
It's 100% truth. 100% truth. great is
You know, like I lived a Reddit lifestyle before there was Reddit, right? You learn about these tricks from other people in the community, and you just sort of work things out that way. Now on Reddit, there are whole forums devoted to how to sneak money out of companies, right? Like,
I know that subreddit. I'm sure there's a subreddit.
There's a subreddit for that everywhere.
There's a subreddit for that.
No, it had nothing to do with that, Rolls. Had nothing to do with that. They were like, streaming movies delivered. No one's going to catch on to that. DVDs. What are these DVDs? What is this?
No. Big old tape boxes.
I won't lie though. I'm seeing that, and I'm filled with a little bit of regret for giving it away because I kind of want to play the PlayStation one. That's what we should be playing right now.
This is one of XCOM UFO Defense. Oh man, it's a good copy, man. You know what? I'm really proud of you though because
top 5 video game of all time.
Looks like you kept it in pretty good condition.
I love that game, man. Look at that! Look at that black. Yeah.
Also, it looks like this was purchased or bought or JC Flicks. I wanna call that out. JC Flicks. Warning: charge will be made if the instruction book is not returned. JC Flex. I wanna point that out that this was Pedro's original copy of XCOM on PlayStation, and it did not come from a store. It definitely came from a rental place. So you bought this when they went out of business, right? Is that what happened?
Yeah. Let's go with that story. Yeah. Let's go with that story. Let's go with that story. What did I say? I was a little shadier back then, I think.
I've got evidence for his past crimes. Like we're gonna
allegedly, Jordan.
Allegedly. Nothing to see here, folks. Move along. That's right.
Oh my god, I forgot.
So the legacy of the PlayStation moved on.
Wait, I just want to say that everyone thinks sometimes I over exaggerate things. I'm just glad that there's physical proof.
Oh yeah.
The madness of my youth. Yes, good.
No. I remember when you were like, "I'm just so stupid." No, man. And then I knew. You know what? I will give you a little bit of nostalgia, and I've told you this before, and I refuse to. I have a copy of. I have your copy of Minish Cap. Of Zelda, it was in the box of all the stuff you gave me, and I pop it in there, and there is a save file, and there are 2 save files on there. One is U, and one is S.
Oh yeah, there we go.
So there are 2 save files on there, and so they belong to you. I haven't deleted them, and when I load yours up, yours is complete. So you did.
That would have been embarrassing if it was only halfway through.
No, it's all the way through. Your file is completely all the way through. So there you go. Like I keep this stuff, and I'm your collector. You're the
archivist. You're the archivist.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
I just throw this all in the trash, and you're like, dude, we need a record of your legacy.
Yep. No, man, I keep all this stuff, man. You know me.
Yeah, no, I know you're surrounded by it, which is insane.
Keeps me young. It keeps me young.
So, speaking of, wait, no, that's a terrible segue. What can we do segues here?
So again, PlayStation guys, 25th anniversary.
Congratulations!
Go buy a classic game on whatever version of the thing. One of my favorite ways to play PlayStation 1 games is pull out a PSP. They play great on a PSP.
That's bonkers.
Yeah, man. It's probably the best way to play them.
Who has a PSP except you, man?
Man, of course. Come
on. There's a whole community out there. There's a subreddit devoted to it. Yeah. It looks really nice. I mean, it still looks pretty futuristic, in fact, as you look at the old
right
PSP.
back in its case.
Oh my gosh. Come on, dude. Come on with that nonsense. I have a I got a DS here. If you want to,
there you go. That's a DS.
It opens and closes. It does all the things.
The black and red one, which originally launched during a Black Friday. That color.
My daughter doesn't care for that one.
The interest of the late fee can get you to this. Yeah.
I like how you think there's a late fee. That's real nice. It's real nice.
So, where would you say is the location of JC Flicks?
I mean, I'm assuming it's still in the Bronx. Maybe. I don't know. I barely even remember JC Flicks.
Oh my god.
I remember there was on Kingsbridge in 190, not Kingsbridge, on the other side of Kingsbridge. Oh, I want to say on. Oh man, this is you're digging deep into my memory here. The other side of Kingsbridge had a rental place I would hit up all the time. Are they still around? Please tell me they're not still around.
JC Flicks, I can't find them, man.
Hey, good.
If anyone can be my Google foo and try to pull up any type of like picture or whatever of a place called JC Flicks in the New York City area.
But JC is Jesus Christ or Jesus Christos in the Bronx.
Sure it was. I would love to see a picture so that I can imagine little Cautious walking in there and like,
Come on.
with the big jacket with a big New York Knicks jacket.
Already had the beard.
His Yankees cap. Looking like
definitely Yankees cap. Definitely Yankees cap. Oh my gosh, I was young and terrible. Good thing we didn't live our lives online back then, because woof.
Oh man. So what else has happened in the world news since we're doing it? Let's not get negative yet. There's got to be something else.
Let's not get negative. Yeah, I think this is positive.
I mean, okay, fair enough. You're right. Let's just kick in with that. So wonderful story. I think
a wonderful story. An early Christmas gift, really. I think, although they settled a while ago. I just wanted to point out Riot Games, right? Settled on the lawsuit for what do you call it? Harassment there. So they're going to pay every female employee since 2014 from a $10 million fund. This is barely a drop in a drops bucket, right? This is $10 million of a $1.4 billion company isn't really that much.
Yeah.
But at least like there's some
100% owned by China, folks.
Yeah. At least there's some feeling of redemption for those women who were not supported, I think is the phrase I'm going to use in the community for their calling out Riot Games and their behavior. Kotaku blew this story open, right? There was a bit.
They did. They were the ones that blew it open. Which
so we can go back and talk about ethics in game journalism and be real, right? Like this is what game journalism should be about: exposing these kind of cracks in the system to cause better change. So good for them. And especially good for their lawyers. As I understand the settlement, the lawyers are pulling away $4.3 million of that $10 million. So the women are actually only seeing $6 million, and it's 1,000 women. So I think the average payout is supposed to be about $5,000. It's symbolic. I know you're making that face. Every time I see a settlement like this, I'm always like, why wasn't I a lawyer? Oh, right, because I'm not evil. Like I could not. I'm not evil enough. I'm like 40% evil. If I was like 60% evil, I would totally be that way, right? But I just didn't get there. So I mean, congratulations to Riot Games for settling. I don't know, Jordan. I don't know. I didn't look it up. I probably could have. My first thought was like, oh, way to go. It's just guys giving guys money to keep women quiet, but that's a negative way to put it. It's good though. Riot Games, we make fun of them a lot because they're a trashy, toxic community. League of Legends, just the worst. I'm sorry to everyone who plays it. Just the worst.
Let's talk about that. Just personal experiences before this show. Before we were doing this,
yeah, no, that's exactly right. Rolls at $10 million is like dropping $20 on dinner. That is, it is nothing for them for a $1.4 billion company.
I'm a little personal about this because I never hate companies. I never want to be the person that wants to go, you know what, you guys suck just because. I always want to have some validity towards the hate towards the company. We really ran into Riot Games early on in their like craziness. When we started going to PAX East, Legends just was like the big blow up. It was huge, right? PAX East became almost one of their home shows. Like they took up a big chunk of the. They had 2 stages at one point.
Yep. One for games and one for showing off their games. It was pretty intense.
Esports or whatever. They just nuts. And I remember, I think it was like 2012, 2013, 2014, one of those 3 out of the 3 years, they were big and they ended up getting 2 stages. And I remember the amount of employees they flew out to Boston and their friends. I mean, you couldn't throw anything into a crowd without hitting a Riot employee shirt because there were so many there.
It took over the whole con almost.
It was an exuberant amount of people. And I don't want to speak for everybody that was there, but they were really some of the jerkiest group of people I've ever talked to or worked with. They were, when you read these articles that say the bro culture was there, it was there. The throw a PlayStation controller, that's right. It was a little sickening seeing it. They were fratty in like the worst kind of way. They just loud, obnoxious, kind of mean.
They were like one swag gift or one cosplay away from shouting "Show your," they just felt wrong for the community that was there.
Was because most of the amazing cosplay those few years was League of Legends.
Oh yeah,
I mean, if you look on
still some of the great cosplays, League of Legends.
You see, I think it was all over any gaming news. You would have saw the big scarecrow guy on the stilts with the giant sights and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
He was at that con the first time, and I mean, he was all over the major IGN, Kotaku, etc. He was all over the place, and it was great looking at it, and everything about the colors and the vibe of the game wanted you to like play it. They enticed you. You're like, that looks really cool. And then you see the people playing it, and you're like,
not for me.
Sucks. Not for me. It was awful. And shortly after that, the company just like got bought up by Riot got bought up by Tencent, and it just like it's still there. They've got a huge amount of esports,
$1.4 billion,
over $1 billion, but it's not how it is anymore. They're still a big.
They don't do that sort of. I mean, I feel like they don't do that same sort of community outreach that they did back in the day. And yeah, it's a classic case of toxic work culture. It is toxic, but this is a toxic work culture. Like, I don't want to say specifically gamer, but definitely it's a kind of toxic work culture that I think I've only ever seen it in games and gamer communities. I mean, World of Warcraft had a large community that was like this, and I think League of Legends actually siphoned off that same sort of culture. I'm sorry?
The only reason we didn't get to see it like this was because it was maybe 5 years too early. Like, it wasn't around the Twitch, the streaming, the esport, the in-your-face camera, the amount of. I mean, there's always been.
Yeah, no, you're right. World of Warcraft was pretty bad though, because because of the competitive PvP on World of Warcraft back in the day, and you would be in that match for hours in the original PvP matches, right? If you played poorly, people were toxic because the rewards mattered. That was better gear.
You get blacklisted, right? You get kicked out of a clan.
Oh,
you were talked about. You'd have to change the name of your.
If you were the wrong, it was that the start of that, like yelling at people for picking the wrong spec.
Right.
Or gearing themselves.
He doesn't know how to play the game.
He doesn't know how to play the game, sort of elitist PvP stylings. And I think League of Legends just picked that up and intensified it. What did I call it?
Funneled it, distilled it.
A douchebag machine, I think I called it at one point. A douchebag engine. That's right. It just took normal, good gamers, crushed them, and out of the other end came douchebags who did nothing but yell and scream at each other. So, so good for good riddance, not good riddance. I guess $10 million, like you say, is $20. It's not even.
It's a start.
It's blip. I don't even think it affects their bottom line for a single month, right?
No,
$4 billion.
No.
Revenue. But
overseas money they generate.
A message to all of the other game companies out there that might be having trouble with this, or even to like a company like Google, right? $10 million for Google, it could be $100 million if they wind up being sued. So good on them. I hope it leads to some other settlements and lawsuits and some real change in the gamer culture.
Yeah.
That's positive, right? I thought this was positive news. And a little bit of Schadenfreude, right? You like when people have to pay for their crimes. You can you can chew on that good stuff going out there.
So let's get back to a happy bit of news, something that I've been wanting to talk to you about. And we talked a little bit over the holidays. First off, how was your holiday?
It was good. Good. It was good. We had a Friendsgiving. We went over to a friend's place and kind of got adopted by their big family and enjoyed a nice Thanksgiving. So, yeah.
Good. You watched a show.
I mean, haven't our fans heard enough about the Mandalorian?
No. They're all chomping at the bit for Friday for episode
5. So yeah, I enjoyed it. I watched it. I'm using someone else's login to watch it, and I watched it. I enjoyed it. I think it's a great Western or samurai, depending on what.
Whichever. It's the same thing, right? Spaghetti Westerns can, all that was kind of tied together.
Or one genre is derivative of the other, and they both fed each. Whatever. Anyway, I think it's good. I think I think Baby Yoda, like I told you over text, will get old fast for me. I don't think a cute MacGuffin is a good enough MacGuffin. And I'm curious where they go with the Mandalorian, right? I think it's good. It's good. I enjoy it. It's an interesting format.
Right. So that's what I want to talk about.
The 30 minutes.
How you feel, whether you like it or you hate it. What do you feel about? What is it saying about Star Wars? Like, what is it doing for the Star Wars franchise? I'm asking you this because, again, you're not hype foamy. Like, you're not me. You're not the foaming at the mouth with hype.
I honestly, I don't know. I think it's maturing it or going back to its roots, right? The original Star Wars was a hometown boy done good movie inspired by samurai films that Lucas watched, right? So it was an attempt to kind of take that and make it American, distinctly American in science fiction. So he kind of put together Buck Rogers, Flash Gordon, and samurai films, and then used World War II footage for the fighter pilots. Lucas took a lot of things and put them all together, and it made this magic potion. And I think Jon Favreau, if I'm saying his name right, is looking to like just distill out that Western concept, which is great. I think, and here's what I really hope comes out of this. Mm-hmm. It shows the power of allowing people to create content inside of universes that are walled, right? So, like, I don't want to say fan fiction is why illegal fan fiction is great, but like the Star Wars universe is massive. It's rich. It's got all this great things you can do in that universe, and the Mandalorian is an example of one of those things that would have been great fan fiction, right? It almost reads like fan fiction.
It does. Jon Favreau's fan fiction.
Yeah, and I'm glad Disney's allowing it to do, but like I would love to see this for other things. Like I'd love to see Tolkien fan fiction. I'd love to see, other things that we never get to explore as fully as Star Wars is being allowed to explore.
I think that's where, and again, this just bringing it back to Disney bought this for this particular reason. Some would call it milking the franchise.
They bought it to make billions of dollars,
right? But okay, you can't. The only way you can make money is to keep things fresh and consumable. And so
yeah, I mean, Disney also uses the whole nostalgia model, right? They're going to mine the same concepts over and over and over again, so you get tired of it. But they'll also, you make it refresh, and hopefully Mandalorian does that. It's interesting that it's on TV, right?
Right.
I don't know. It's an interesting format for Star Wars. I'm excited for it. I'd
be
curious
where they go. 4 hours into a show. I mean, 4 hours. I mean, this
are they hour-long shows?
They're a little under an hour, like 49 minutes, 50 minutes, depending on the episode. When you look at the runtime on some of them, you're like, why is this only 47? And then
that's all they needed, right? That's all they needed to get the show through. I think it's great. I think the coolest thing about them is the concept art at the end of the episodes.
Concept art and music are my two favorite things.
The coolest things about it. So by far the coolest things. I dig it. I like it. I shouldn't say I approve of it. I approve of the Mandalorian.
There you go, folks.
I don't know that I'd be willing to pay $7 a month for it or whatever Disney Plus costs. $5 a month, whatever it is. Because it's the only thing I've watched so far on Disney Plus. I haven't watched anything else.
I mean, you're right. But what I'm getting at is right. If you had it, not watched it, if this was what's to come and the kind of quality we will get of Disney Plus, I'm happy for it. Like if we're going to continue getting this kind of quality show, quality content, movie quality.
I mean, we'll only get it as long as it translates to subscribers in dollars, right? But yeah. And I'm curious how many Disney executives they have devoted to figuring out how many people like me who do nothing but spreadsheet analytical work for a living, trying to figure out how many logins are being shared and not paid for.
Yeah.
Right. Because like I'm just like, well, that's all that lost revenue because all of these people want to watch it.
We'll put a pin in that because I want to know what the numbers will look like 1 year from now when they do their next quarterly earnings, when they do their next big, like, what was the revenue? How many subscribers? Will they say it? A lot of companies probably keep those numbers to the, close to the chest.
See, I'm not excited for Obi-Wan, Jordan. I'm sorry. I'm just not excited for that.
Really?
I don't need the old characters.
I'm with you on that.
I want more Mandalorian. I don't want any more Skywalker, Star Wars, Ben Kenobi crap. I want new stuff in this universe. The stuff that I did with my toys. That's what I want.
I agree with you. The only downside of that, or the only pull away from that, is I want to see Ewan McGregor in a formatted show like this. Like, give me Ewan McGregor's Obi-Wan in a Mandalorian-esque setting where we're not worried about the Skywalkers. We're worried about maybe him on the run, maybe him kind of just a little, I don't know. Just
yeah, I mean, I make him a different Jedi. I don't need.
He can't. His face is. I mean, his face and voice are like iconic.
I know. I don't need it. I didn't need it. I saw you were playing the Star Wars video game. Are you playing it on PC?
I am. I'm playing it on Xbox. I picked it up on Xbox. I don't know. I got it on sale at Walmart on the Wally World.
He has the high ground. Yes, I know. We all have the high ground.
Yeah, so I am. That's what I'm playing right now. For Black Friday, Cyber Monday pickups, I picked up a couple of gifts for the kiddos and whatnot. But I did pick up a copy of Jedi of Star Wars. Jedi.
How do you like it? Reviews are mixed.
I wasn't running for it, but I had lots of people play it, lots of friends play it, and they sold me on it. And then I read a good review on it from one of my favorite individuals, Tim Rogers, and he talked about it and he liked it. And yeah, man, it's definitely EA holding back their money, holding back their like microtransactionness and going, here is a game. We're going to have to give you guys eventually a single player game.
So,
and it's good. It's got good story. I don't relate to, like, the story's been good so far. I don't like the main characters.
Oh, you don't like playing Archie? You don't like playing Archie?
I mean, when they said he's a redhead, like, my TV, my HDR 4K is like, that guy's a ginger. Like that guy's a ginger. Like he's made fun of. Like, if you want to stand out as a Jedi, that guy's a Jedi.
How does everyone not see the Jedi? How does anyone not see you? Yeah, I mean, they release a movie every couple months that makes $1 billion, so that they're going to be fine, right? The executives. Frozen 2 broke all records. Oh. Every time Disney releases a movie, they break all records. So
I did see that. I took the kiddo to see that.
You enjoy it? Was it good? I haven't seen it yet.
It was, man. That was my hot take on it. Like, my hot take is my status post on that was, if this is the direction that we're going to get of Disney when they go, we're going to make a sequel. Like, we're not going to make some like crappy sequel straight to DVD.
Aladdin's Sands of Time garbage.
Right. With not Robin Williams as a voice, but then we'll bring him back for the third one.
Lion King 2. Did you see Lion King 2?
2? Yeah. My
kid made me watch it. We put it on and I'm like, this is.
So that was terrible. But you know what's really good? Out of all those sequels, Lion King 1.5.
There's a half?
It's so good. It's the original Lion King from the view of Timon and Pumbaa. Like, what they were doing up to that point. And so there's moments that
there's like moments of overlap.
Yeah, moments overlap. It's hilarious. It's a full comedy movie. You should, if you get a chance to watch it.
And it's got this Nathan Lane, the same voices.
Yeah, all the original voices came back. So it's fantastic.
There you go.
Moments that overlap. That's a good one. If anyone hasn't seen that,
Lion King 2 was direct. What?
It's not the worst of the sequels. If we want to talk about bad sequels, Dalmatians 102 is terrible. Bambi 2 is terrible. And there's a bunch of weird sequels.
There's terrible ones. I couldn't bring myself to do
Cinderella 3.
So those are all those. Yeah, we know those are terrible. Even walking into the deal, right? Yeah. All right. So Frozen 2 was excellent.
Excellent. It took it in a direction where you're like,
Home Alone 2.
This is dark.
Also a Disney movie now. You can watch part 1.
I had forgotten that. I know, like, in my head, I know they bought Fox, but then I was like, Disney Plus, and all of a sudden Home Alone was on there. I was like, what's going on here? Why is Disney? I'm like, oh, right. They own it. So yeah, Home Alone is on there.
Part 2 was the best Home Alone, yes, because it takes place in New York City.
By the way, why did that kid not get mugged?
Which was the best Die Hard? Die Hard with a Vengeance, because it takes place in New York City. Come on, everybody. Die Hard 1 is the original. It's got its own qualities, but Die Hard with a Vengeance is the best one.
So Home Alone 2, the wife read a fun fact. There's a reason why Sir Trumps-a-Lot is in that movie. he's got a contractual thing. Because he owns that hotel at the time, anytime a movie is filmed on his property, he must be in it.
Man, I gotta give him, he's savvy. That's a savvy move. That's good. All right. I'm outvoted here. Rolls and Jordan are both saying Die Hard 1 is better than Die Hard with a Vengeance. I will posit and offer this. Die Hard with a Vengeance aged better. Die Hard 1 is excellent for nostalgia feels and everything else, but Die Hard with a Vengeance aged much better than Die Hard. Think about the trope, right? So this is a woman in distress movie from beginning to end with just dudes. I mean, there's literally one woman in Die Hard with a line. I think Die Hard with a Vengeance isn't much better, but at least there's Samuel Jackson, right? I think Samuel Jackson makes
right. Okay, so okay, you're right. If we're going to talk with a Vengeance, that's part 3, right?
Yeah, part 3.
Part 3. That's the one that
we don't talk about part 2. We don't talk about that.
You know that one wasn't a Die Hard movie, right?
It's Die Hard with a Vengeance. How
is
that?
Right. It is Die Hard with a Vengeance, but it wasn't Die Hard. So that movie has a really funny, and I know Tim, if he's still watching, he can fact check me on this. But that movie was an action movie with Samuel Jackson, and they pitched it, and they were like, Samuel Jackson isn't popular enough to be his own, and so they had like a script for a Die Hard, and so they wrote McClane into that movie.
So like, I have a script here, and they went.
Yep, that's exactly what happened. And Tim, I know you're watching.
That's fine. It's still a Die Hard movie. Come on,
McClane. It is like it started off as not, but they were like, it's like guest starring, Tim, guest starring.
But he was. I mean, it was a great buddy film. It's got all the tropes. It's got everything you want there.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember vividly the TV spots for that, like them, really doing the buddy, like, oh my god,
I saw that movie. I think I've seen the movie. I can solve that puzzle, the bomb diffusion puzzle with the gallons of water going back and forth.
Yeah.
Remember that? I could solve that puzzle like in my sleep. It's ridiculous without even thinking about it again. And I know it so well that I think other people do. So when I present it to them, they're like, "What the?"
Yeah, honestly, I've seen it, but I can't remember in the last 10 years of me watching it. It might have been on like TV, and I might have watched it and be like, "Oh yeah, Die Hard 3 with a Vengeance." But
this is a movie. I remember this
movie. Like, yeah.
But we watch Die Hard 1 every year because it's a Christmas film, right?
It's
so
Christmas film, we're gonna watch it tomorrow. Actually, it's on the docket.
It's on the docket for tomorrow. Do you have like a 25 Days of Christmas kind of thing?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Of course we do, man. We go through some Harry Potters. We do Die Hards.
Rolls. There you go. There is a Christmas reference in that movie. I totally forgot about that line. It's like Christmas Eve in reference to No Cops Around for the Robbery, right? Because they're all working at the public schools. Look around. It's like Christmas Eve. Yeah, no, that's right.
Yeah, that's a good thing. So they've made sure that they've kept the Christmas, because they did Christmas. Every part 1 and 2 are both on Christmas, right? Like the airport one is on Christmas.
Are they coming home for that? I barely remember that one. I don't barely remember that one, to be honest with you. Oh, you're right. Rolls is saying that the second one. Yep, there we go. See, Rolls is our fact god of the episode today. This is coming in with this information. Yep, first non-Christmas setting for a Die Hard film is the third one. It was like summer, except it wasn't summer because school was in session. It's very confusing.
Yeah, that's right.
I was like, kids in New York don't go to school all summer long. Let's put a pin in that one.
Oh, we did go through a holiday movie watching last week. We watched. We started off with Jingle All the Way.
Good one. That's one of your faves.
It is one of my faves, and we watched Jingle All the Way. But then instead of going Christmas, we took a sharp right towards Schwarzenegger, and we ended up watching Kindergarten Cop.
It's not a tumor. Yes, excellent film.
Excellent film. And then we ended it with Running Man.
Oh my gosh, that is quite the marathon.
Yeah. So we watched all 3 movies on a Saturday. Oh God, thank you, Rolls. You are a man in my heart. Like, Sinbad is fantastic in that movie.
I refuse to watch the movie because I know Joe likes it so much.
Oh, you've never, please.
I've never seen it. Never seen it.
Oh,
never seen it. I can honestly say I mean, Kindergarten Cop might be the only Arnold Schwarzenegger comedy I've watched. To be honest with you, I don't think I've
Oh my
watched
God, it's so good.
any comedies.
Jingle All the Way is fantastic, especially because it distills Christmas in the most like consumerist way. Here's this ungrateful kid. I mean, it's Anakin Skywalker in the movie, the kid that plays Anakin in the Phantom Menace. He plays
the same kid.
Same kid, yeah.
Oh, I had no idea.
He's a neglected kid. Arnold plays like the owner of a mattress company or whatever, and
he's like the overworked dad who tries to get the gift at the last minute and blah blah blah.
Didn't get the Turbo Man doll. Gotta get the Turbo Man doll.
You can't ban me from the show.
I can't. I love him too much, but I will get him. I gotta wear him down where I can. He will watch Jingle All the Way. He will watch it.
We watched Elf this weekend. That's our Christmas tradition. My daughter loves it. Elf is the Christmas movie for us.
Grinch. The kids watch Grinch already.
Grinch is good. My wife and I talked about putting on Gremlins, inspired again by brother sister earlier. But that Santa story is really warped. Like there's so much warping about it. Yeah, Turbo Man from Jingle All the Way. There you go. That's
Turbo Man. And have you watched the old 1980s Santa Claus the movie with what's his name? Mickey Smith. He's always sounded like he was drunk. He was the British guy that was always laughing, but he played the elf. Oh my God. Come on.
Nope. I did see Bad Santa. Are you talking about Bad Santa?
No. Santa Claus the movie that
Phil Hartman is in.
Dudley Moore.
Dudley Moore? No.
Yeah, Dudley Moore, John Lithgow. Christmas 2. No.
No.
John Lithgow owned a toy company. So Dudley Moore. So it's the origin story of Santa Claus.
Is this the Christmas movie you watch every Christmas?
Dude, it's a 1985 like Santa Claus the movie. It was like in New York.
You know what else came out in 1985? Gremlins. All I need is one Christmas movie per year.
Dude, it was huge. The movie was huge. Like there was it was one of the first major movies that had like a McDonald's like tie-in, and so McDonald's was like all over this, and McDonald's had toys, and they pushed the Big Mac had just come out or had just been like a thing, and so like it was like a cross promotion with it.
Jesus, that's I don't know anything about that.
Yeah, it's all filmed in New York. The kid's like a New York kid, and the little girl
got run over by a reindeer. Yeah. You guys, all right, we are at
scraping
the bottom of the barrel for movies.
Guys, watch your Christmas
and gals. So, Joe, we're better.
Gals, ladies and gentlemen, we'll get better.
Folks,
y'all.
You're right. Gremlins was Gremlins 86? Yes, it was 86. I always want to say 85, but Tim's our movie man, so he's the movie man. So yeah, definitely. No disputing that. I corrected Jordan earlier and telling him it was 86.
That's right. Thank you, Tim. Phil Hartman is also in.
Phil Hartman will always be on news radio for me. I know
he plays a great this kind of greasy dad in trying to get into Arnold's wife. So.
Wives. I remember the parts that I've seen at your place when I'm over. I'm like, I gotta go. Yeah. I might watch too much of this film to remember it. I'll give you my voodoo info. Tim, and for the record, if you think I can't find a movie to watch, it's piracy. I had to dust off some of the old techniques and crack a few knuckles over my keyboard, but yeah, it's not
You may or may not have access to some Plex servers out there, just
allegedly,
folks.
Allegedly, I can find Jingle All the Way if I wanted to make Joe's Christmas, but I would not.
Folks.
Because
and also, guys, episode 55. I love you guys. Like, share, subscribe. Tell us we'll make a Christmas list. Let's talk about let's talk about toys. Let's talk about what you want to talk about for this holiday. We're wrapping up the year. We're going to be talking about what we've done this year. It's been a good year. And if anyone can find the owner of JC Flicks, I've got a copy of XCOM that was checked out on a Pedro Amador. We need to return.
Checked out.
Allegedly. Guys, love you. Episode 55 in the can.
Be kind, everyone.
Yar.